Okay. Last time, we had our introduction sa organic chemistry. So we talked about carbon itself and also the hydrocarbons, though we are going to discuss pa thoroughly the different types of hydrocarbons, I mean the different hydrocarbon derivatives, and also we discussed about the structures or the formula, different formula of our organic compounds. And we also talked about isomers, the different types of isomers, and I think we ended here sa types of organic reactions. So again, this is just a review, so I will not really give a lot of time for each concept. Kay review class man siya. And that this is how we do sa review class. Diretso-diretso tayo. Okay, wait lang. Ayan. Sige, let's have the types of reaction. The first one here is called the addition. So you have here an organic compound, and then it will be reacted with another compound which can be an inorganic compound. So again, pwede siyang inorganic, and then i-add natin yung components ni inorganic compounds to compound doon sa organic one. So in this case, you have here the ethene, two carbons with a double bond. So ethene ang tawag natin dyan. And then ipapareact siya with the bromic acid. So ang mangyayari dyan, lahat ng components ni bromic acid will be distributed to each carbon. So pwedeng ganito. Ayan. The hydrogen will be given or will be added to the first carbon, while the bromine will be added to the second carbon. So when that happens, this will now be the product. CH2 will become CH3 because of one hydrogen that is being added, and that CH2 will remain CH2, but it will be added with bromine. And as you can see, mawawala ang double bond. Kasi pag hindi mo yan tanggalin yung double bond, so sobra na yan. Remember that carbon can only form a total of 4 bonds. So kung meron kang, for example, 3 hydrogen dyan, and then kung i-double bond mo pa siya, dito sa second carbon, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 5 bonds na yan. So please take note that you really have to get rid of the double bond during addition if meron tayong i-add. So silang lahat, silang dalawang carbon, 4 bonds lang lahat. Okay? Pero again, this is called addition. So anong ginagawa nito sa board exam? Nagbibigay sila ng equation, sample equation, and you just have to identify whether that is an addition reaction or it can be one of the next types of reaction. So for the next type, it will be substitution. So this is not just purely addition wherein you add the components of the reacting substance to the organic compound. This time, we really substitute one atom or group of atoms na originally makikita sa organic compound. So just like this is ethanol, CH3, CH2OH, and it is added with chlorine. Pag i-complete natin itong reaction, sample chlorine yan siya dyan. Wait lang, ha? So si chlorine is a substitute niya yung OH. So this one is being displaced. So kung nakikita natin yung product on the screen, CH3, CH2, instead of OH, naging Cl na siya. Ikompleto natin. Again, the OH will be displaced. So this is substitution. I hope you can see the difference between substitution and addition. Si addition talagang i-add lang natin yung components, wala tayong papalitan. Pero pag sa substitution, may madi-displace talaga, and mapapalitan siya ng reacting substance. Okay, that's substitution. Now, for elimination, mura ni siya class of decomposition reaction sa inorganic chemistry wherein wala kang ibang reactant dyan, may isang compound ka lang dyan and parang mag-decompose lang siya. So there are atoms or atoms that will be eliminated from the original formula. So in this case, you still have the ethanol there, CH3CH2OH, and if it undergoes elimination, ano yung na-eliminate dyan? Na-eliminate si OH, and at the same time, ang isang H nito. Okay? May isang H nito na na-eliminate, and then again, the OH. So, since silang dalawa, H plus OH, that will become the water in the product, and you will be left with, take note, the first carbon there is nakulangan na ng isang hydrogen. Ito mag-remain siya as CH2. Hindi siya pwedeng single bond lang. Kasi kung single bond lang, kulang. Dapat 4. So 1, 2, and then kung single bond, ikatatlo lang yung single bond between carbon and carbon. So kaya naging double bond siya here. So I hope you can easily identify the elimination. Wala kang another reacting substance there. Isang reactant ka lang talaga, and magkakaroon ng elimination of one or more atoms. Okay? You can ask question if you're confused about something. Now, the fourth type of reaction for organic compounds is what you call the rearrangement. So this one happens when there is isomerization. Diba? When you say isomer, these are compounds. These are different compounds, but they have the same molecular formula. Different compounds meaning they have different structures, pero again, they have the same molecular formula. So just like this, when this compound undergoes rearrangement, instead of the bromine will be found on the terminal carbon, mapupunta siya on the second carbon. So magiging 2-bromopropane na siya instead of the bromopropane. Okay, naging nasa carbon number 2. Rearrangement lang ang tawag dyan. And then again, the process can be called as isomerization. Kasi if titingnan natin class, if i-check natin yung molecular formula nito, parehas lang. Parehas lang siya. And the fifth type of organic reaction is what you call the free radical reaction. Again, free radical reaction. When you say free radical, ito yung substance natin, chemical species na may extrang electron. Again, meron siyang extrang electron, so definitely it is not stable. So sa mga organic na reactions, this can happen pero step by step siya. Ang tandaan ninyo, for the free radical chemical reaction, meron tayong 3 steps: initiation, propagation, and also termination. So magsa-start yan siya sa initiation. From the term itself, initiation means there is the process of releasing the free radical. So supposedly you have there the chlorine molecule, and then remember chlorine is a member of Britchnov. I don't know if you can still remember this mnemonics. Britchnov are our diatomic molecules. So they don't really exist as one atom only in nature, but diatomic. So si chlorine kasama dyan. So supposedly Cl2 yan siya. But kailan mangyayari yung chlorine magiging free radical? If it is subjected to heat or to light, or UV radiation can also do that, or some other heavy metals can also do the initiation for the formation of free radicals. Now, after ma-form si free radical, this is just an example ha, kasi this can be true for the halogens. So pwede din kay bromine or the other halogens. Now, after the initiation, we will have the propagation, wherein we will have the formation of more free radicals pa. Again, magpo-form pa siya ng mas marami pa na free radicals. So for example, meron kang free radical na chlorine. Now, in the presence of your CH4, supposedly this is CH4, this is methane. Okay, again, this is methane. Now, since the chlorine wants free radical siya, so unstable, kailangan niyang maging stable. So, maa-attract niya itong hydrogen na ito and then malilipat sa kanya. Pag nalipat ito sa kanya, magiging stable siya, but definitely the remaining CH3 will not become stable. So, there is now again the formation of this another free radical. So again, the free radical na reaction is a step-by-step process. And then, we have here the formation of this free radical. Kailangan niya ding maging stable. So in the presence of more chlorine molecules, magre-react din siya dyan. So kukunin niya itong isa, i-attract niya ito. Now this becomes stable, but you will be left with another molecule naman na free radical. So marami ka ng free radical na form. And then the last step for the free radical reaction is the termination. So kailangan siyang i-terminate. Babalik actually ito sa what do you call that? Sa first step. Kasi kailangan, pag marami ka ng Cl na free radical, definitely they will attract each other and magdudugtong pa rin sila. Ayan, magkakaroon ka na naman ng Cl2. And this becomes stable again. Now, pwede din naman if nahalo-halo na siya sa isang mixture, if you have a free radical na chlorine, tapos there is the presence of the formed free radical na methyl, pwede din silang dalawa mag-combine. So, pag nag-combine sila, hindi na sila free radical, stable na din sila na compound. Or if in the process you have the presence of both methyl na free radicals, they can also combine. So, pwede din silang mag-combine, maging ethane sila. So, this one is, ethane ito. This one is a stable compound. So again, step-by-step process. Magsa-start lang yan siya kung merong mag-initiate ng formation of the free radicals. But nevertheless, this is one type of organic reaction. Okay? So to summarize, ano nga yun? Number 1 is addition. You just have to add the components of the reacting substance to our organic compound. And then we have substitution. So meron ka talagang papalitan na atom or group of atoms na originally makikita doon sa organic compound. And then we have elimination. You can easily identify elimination because just like decomposition, you only have one reactant. So parang magde-decompose lang din siya. And then the rearrangement, if meron ka lang malilipat na branch. So it's the process of isomerization. And lastly, we have the free radical na reaction na merong 3 steps: initiation, propagation, and termination. Any questions so far about the types of chemical reaction? Any question? Again, sabi ko kanina, you can encounter questions regarding or about these types of reaction sa board exam or sa mga review centers. Magbibigay sila ng example na equation and you just have to identify what type of reaction is that. Okay, I hope that is clear. Now, if you don't have question about the types of reaction, let's move on to the systems of nomenclature. How do we name our organic compounds? You have this with Ma'am Eroy, I believe, and I hope you can still remember your lessons sa organic chemistry. So meron tayong different types of names also for the organic compounds. We have the so-called common names, which are actually the names of the compounds na binigay sa kanila when they were discovered. So just like the formic acid, which is found sa ants, and that is the reason why when you are like nakagat ng ants, ano siya, medyo itchy na masakit, na painful. Again, that is due to the formic acid. So, tinawag siyang formic acid because of, sa Latin, ants is called formica. So again, on na iyahang common name. It was given to it when it was discovered. And most of the time, you can identify common names through the use of these prefixes. The N, the ISO, and the NEO. N and NEO are two different things ha. Let me just show you na lang an example para dili mo malibog between NEO and N. Wait lang. Pag makita ninyo na siya nga name, pag naagani na siya sa name, common name lang na siya. It's not really an IUPAC name. So we have here for N, if the prefix is N, it means it's the linear lang siya na chain or continuous na chain. So just like this is just N-pentane. Pag diretso-diretso lang siya CH3, CH2, 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 CH3, or kahit pa meron siyang other functional groups, as long as linear siya or straight chain siya, that's the time we use the prefix N. Kasi normal na pentane, normal na butane, and so on. Pero if we use the prefix iso, it means that in your second carbon, may nakakabit ka dyan na alkane group or methyl group. Most of the time, it's a methyl group. So again, meron sa second carbon, nakakabit na methyl group. That's what you mean when you see the prefix na iso. So kagaya ni isopropyl. So propyl is tatlong carbon, pero lagay natin alcohol. Ayan, isopropyl alcohol. Let me draw the structure. You have here a CH3, and then you have a CH, and then you have the OH, and then you have there the CH3. So this one, though it is not really OH that is found, it is not really methyl that is found at the second carbon, but still, since this is an alcohol, so OH yung nakikita natin sa second carbon, kaya siya tinawag na isopropyl. Propyl kasi tatlong carbon yan. And then iso again kasi the OH is found on the second carbon. So pag makita nyo itong structure kagaya nito, isopentane, this is carbon number 1. On carbon number 2, meron kang branch dyan. Isopentane ang tawag. Hindi siya straight chain. That is also true for isopentanol. So iso sa second carbon natin. Actually, if we start here, this one is the second carbon. So meron kang group or functional group after the terminal carbon. Now, when do we use the prefix neo? Kasi sabi ko kanina, N and the neo are two different things. We use that when there is a quaternary carbon at the end of our chain. Unsa pa na siya kataas nga chain, nga diretso-diretso. Example, daghan kaayo kag C, pero na, at the end, meron kang quaternary carbon. So itong quaternary carbon, nakakombine siya sa 4 more carbons or 4 more functional group. Quaternary carbon, yan siya. That's the time we use the prefix neo. Now, when you see this prefixes in the names of the compounds, again, ano lang yan siya? Common name. Hindi sila IUPAC name. I hope you can remember that very well. So, merong example dito sa baba. So, meron tayong nakikita here na iso. So, di ba si iso is nasa second na carbon yung connection. Pwede siyang methyl group or actually pwede siya other functional groups. Okay? So that's it for the common names. Now, how about the derived names? Derived names are actually derived from the parent compound. We seldom see the derived names. Most of the time, we use the common name or the IUPAC name. So IUPAC means International Union of Pure and Applied Chemistry. Sila yung nagbigay ng rules on how to name our organic compounds, and this is the most systematic way of naming. So for example, you cannot see anymore the prefixes ha, N, iso, and what do you call that? Neo. Instead, we use the numbers to identify the position of every branch in a structure. So anong kailangan natin malaman for the IUPAC name? The first thing that we need to know is the parent chain. The parent chain, take note, is the longest na continuous chain. Again, longest continuous chain is called the parent chain. After identifying the parent chain, we have to assign numbers for each carbon there. Okay? Kailangan natin mag-assign. So kung ilang carbons yan, yun din yung magiging name ng parent chain nila. Okay? And then use of carbon number prefixes, I will discuss this one also. And then the numbers that we have assigned in our carbons in the longest chain or the parent chain will also be used to identify the position of our branches, or we call them substituents. But nevertheless, IUPAC name is the most systematic way of naming ng organic compounds. Okay? So let's talk about the rules again of our IUPAC naming. Again, unang gagawin, identify the longest chain. We'll have example later. Again, identify the longest chain, and then after that, you assign numbers for those carbons na na-involve doon sa parent chain. And then, i-identify natin yung branches, kung anong pangalan nila, and i-indicate natin ang position nila through the use of those numbers kung saan sila naka-attach sa parent chain. But before that, sa IUPAC naming, you have to be familiar with the different prefixes na ginagamit natin for the number of carbons present in the chain. So, syempre, meth is 1, F, prop, pasunod na prop, but, pent, hex, hep, oct, non, and dec. We can actually add more, hanggang 12 lang siguro. 11 is andec, and 12 is dodec. Okay? Yan yung mga prefixes na pwede natin gamitin. Wait lang, I'm looking for questions so far. So, appeal pa ni sila ha sa inyong ibutang, sa inyong brain cells. Wala pong na. Sure? Sure na yun. Wait lang. Let's clear all the writings on the screen. Wait lang, chat. Wala. Pangutana. And then sa naming, though we will discuss them one by one, yung suffix is dependent on the functional group. So like kung carbon and hydrogen, hydrocarbon lang siya, tapos single bond lang lahat, wala ka nang ibang makita na atom. So alkane siya, mag-end siya sa ane. Or kung may double bond, in, kung triple bond, ine. So for the other na functional groups, again, we will discuss them one by one. Kung may makita ka na OH, then that's an alcohol, and then the suffix will be ol. For aldehyde, al. This is for ketone. RCOR is ketone. So mag-end siya sa -one. And then RCOOH is carboxylic acid. Mag-end siya sa oic acid. Okay? And then we can also identify the name of the substituent. Kung meron ng substituent na present. And then i-indicate din natin, i-identify natin yung position niya using the numbers being assigned in the straight chain. Now, if there are more than one na this same kind of substituent, that's the time we use the di, tri, tetra, and so on. So before tayo mag-move on with the simple hydrocarbons, let us first exercise lang tayo, or I'll just give example sa pag-name ng alkane muna tayo first. Alkane, wait lang ha, let me change my slide. So, na akong slide, ano organic, okay. Wala na. This one. Okay. So like this one. Rules ito ha, rules to follow in naming our alkanes. Number 1, again, identify the longest chain or the parent chain. So ito, hindi talaga siya ang tama na chemical or structural formula for the example, but for the sake lang sa pag-picture out natin, how do we identify the parent chain? So sa parent chain, I know this na kabalupod mo ani, kailangan lang ninyo pangitaon ang longest na continuous chain. So hindi ka dapat maputol. Okay? So just like this one, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. If you will just count the straight chain, that's 8 atoms all in all. But we can also consider na muliko ta. Pero let's see kung mas daghan ba siya or mas gamay. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So if we go up, 7 na lang siya, definitely it will not be now the longest carbon chain or the parent chain. So bisag baliktaron pa nato na siya class 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I don't know if you can see the cursor. Pero magamit na lang sa akong pen. Again, baliktaron nato siya. Like, dito na mag-start. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 7 pa rin yun. So, definitely, our longest chain here is 8 carbon. So, bisag, unsaon pa na nimo siya og paliko-liko. Mag-straight chain man na siya, mag-bend man na siya, or magliko-liko na siya. As long as it's the longest chain na hindi napuputol, that will be the parent chain. Okay, that's how you identify the parent chain ha. Next, the next step after identifying the parent chain, though this is not the same with the examples of first one ha. Number 2, identify all of the substituents or mga branches natin. So in this case, though meron na yung pangalan dyan, we will start with the first one. Before we can identify the branches or the substituents, kailangan bumalik tayo sa parent chain. So you have here 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So 6 here. Pag lumiko, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So it doesn't matter, 6 pa rin lahat. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Kahit baliktarin mo, 6 carbons pa rin yan. So, di ba pag 6, ang prefix natin is hex. And take note, sinabi ko kanina, if you can just see carbon and hydrogen, hydrocarbon yan siya pag single bond alkane. And for alkane, our ending sa name should be ane. So idugtong mo lang siya. This is now hexane. So for an instance, ito yung parent chain ko. Lahat ng hindi nasali sa parent chain ang tinatawag na substituent or branches. So we have two here. This is the first one and this is the second one. Now meron tayong tinatawag na alkyl group in the substituents. Ito yung mga alkane supposedly, pero kulang sila ng hydrogen. Kasi for example, di ba pag isang carbon lang, dapat 4 yung hydrogen. Pero take note of this, CH3 lang siya. So kulang siya ng isang hydrogen, ang tawag dyan, alkyl group. So paano siya in-name? Ganun pa rin, we will still use the prefixes sa number of carbons. So, kung isa lang yan siya, our prefix is meth, but this time, it will not end with ane. You will just use the ending ane if it is the parent chain. Pero pag branch siya, alkyl group, mag-end yan siya sa il. So, ito yung ending ng alkyl group, ha? YL. So, this is now called the methyl, and this is now called, this is 2 carbon na branch. So, F ang kanyang start and then ang ending niya ay il. So, this is ethyl. Okay? Again, this is ethyl. Now, gusto na ko actually mag-next slide. Okay. Sige, mag-next slide takay. Actually, parehas na sila na compound. Pero, ano na lang, para di ko masigig erase. I-explain na lang nako ang second na slide. Ang second na slide, Manggod, is we have to identify the position of these substituents based on the numbering natin sa parent chain. And I know, kabalusad mo ani na mag-number ta sa ato ang parent chain. Pero asa ta mag-start? Syempre, mag-start ta sa end kung asa na ay pinakaduol na branch. So kung mag-start na din class at carbon number 1 and then at carbon number 2, I mean, we have now the substituent. Pero pag mag-carbon number 1, magugad din ang imuhang first substituent na apa sa carbon number 3. So automatic, mali na siya. Ang atong pilion sa numbering dito sa pinakaduol. So 3, 4, 5, and 6. This is the final numbering. And this numbering, idudugtong natin sila sa name ng compound. I mean, ng substituent or branch through a dash. So this will become 2-methyl and this will become 4-ethyl. Now, ang next slide pag yun, paano nato siya idugtong sa name? The substituents will be arranged alphabetically. Again, take note of that. The substituents or the branches will be arranged alphabetically. So, it doesn't matter kung ang number niya ay mas malaki as long as yung name niya, just like this, ethyl, compared sa methyl, mauna siya sa alphabet. So, kaya, we have now here the 4-ethyl, siya ang una. Do not ever forget the dash. And then dash pa rin, and then we have 2-methyl. So si methyl na ang idudugtong kay hexane. Wala na space din ha. Diretso na siya. Okay? Questions sa naming? Nasignay wala na sabtan. Okay, mag-usab ta. Basig natulog na mo, wala ba mo nag-on og ka? Basig ako'y ka-istorya din Apa ba ko'y ka-istorya? Natug na sila. Kay Moragaina pa ni sila klina si Hay.
Naapan mi, ma'am.
But that is my problem when I saw the schedule, wala ko giganahan kay nganong 3 to 6. Pag 3 to 6 man gud ang klase, luya namang gud.
Only hour.
As in, lami ikatulog and then na-drain na inyong energy sa inyong klase kagainda. Actually, gusto jud na ko og klase nga buntag. Lagot ko. I am not into night classes or even afternoon na class, di ko ganahan mo na nga. Okay ra kay ko pamatahon ko ninyo 7:30 adlaw-adlaw. Mas ganahan ko magklase ana kay buhi man ko og buntag. And at the same time I believe ang estudyante buhi sa og buntag except sa na-struggle sa 7:30. Pero maglagot ko ano.
Lutong man kami, ma'am, pagbuntag.
Ansa-ansa?
Lutong man mi, ma'am, pagbuntag.
Lutang mo pagbuntag. Dili magkukulutang pagbuntag bless sila. Ano magko kanang I really need to wake up early kay dili man pud ko makatulog og buntag. Pag na gani hayag matan jud ko ana. And dili jud ko makatulog ulit pag naanay hayag parehas kagaina dugay ko nakatulog kagabi eh. Unya nagmata ko alas 6 nalagot ko gusto na ako matulog pa kay di man ako maligo. Hindi ko maligo niya pa mo maligo. Nalagot ko kay dili jud ko makatulog balik. So gusto jud ko morning class nalagot jud ko aning schedule chart. Pero wala ko mabuhat. So sige, panindigan na to ni. So mao na niya ako ang giingon kagainahan na we will be assigning numbers for in the parent chain to identify the position of our branches. Okay? Now, this is another example and this is another rule. This is another rule kasi meron tayo ditong branches na the same. Okay, when I say the same, example, may dalawang methyl or may tatlong methyl or may dalawang ethyl. So how do we name them? Please take note that we will be using another series of prefixes here. So we have here the example. This is different. So actually, nakalagay na yung name niya dyan sa baba. Pero for the sake na alam nyo paano siya naging 4-ethyl-3,3-dimethylheptane, again, our rule number 1, locate first the parent chain. So we will just be counting 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. That's 7 carbon if straight chain tayo. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 6 pag lumiko tayo here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 6 pa rin dito. If balik rin natin 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, that is still 6. So definitely our longest chain is itong 7 and that will be a straight chain. Okay, straight chain ito. This is our parent. Straight chain. Pero di ko samo pa, hindi ko kasulat straight. Anyway, again, the straight chain. So 7 yan siya. And then remember, our prefix for 7 carbon is hept. And since hydrocarbon ito and then single bond lang, so this is hept. And then the ending should be ane. So ano yung hindi nasali dyan sa parent chain? This one also, and another one here. So automatically they will be considered as branches or substituents and we will be naming them. Now the first one here is syempre called ethyl because we have 2 carbons, and then these 2 here will be called, both of them are methyl. Now, after identifying the substituents, we will be identifying their position through numbering the parent chain. But take note that you have to start numbering doon sa side where you can locate the lowest number of substituents. So if you start here 1, 2, 3, 4, sa carbon number 4 ka, we will see there the first substituent. But if we start numbering here on the second, on the other side, 1, 2, 3, at carbon number 3, we already have substituents. So ito yung tamang numbering. Do not forget that. So again, this one is the correct numbering. Now, after identifying the position, I told you to arrange them alphabetically, but take note na meron tayong dalawang methyl. So if this is the case, this is 4-ethyl, this is 3-methyl, this is also 3-methyl here. Pag pareha silang methyl class, that's the time we use these prefixes. Di, tri, tetra, etc. Pag isa lang, syempre we don't need to use mono. Pero pag dalawa na, that's the time we use di. So idudugtong lang natin sa name. This is still for ethyl kasi isa lang naman siya. But for methyl class, we need to write all the numbers kung saan sila nakakabit sa parent chain. So kahit magkaparehas pa silang 3, kailangan mo isulat lahat and we will just separate them using a comma. Pero the rest, dash na yan siya. And then again, we will use the prefix di. So this will now be called dimethyl. Okay? Now, how about the alphabetical order? Class, sa alphabetical order, we don't include the prefixes. Okay? So we will still arrange them according sa name. E and M pa rin yan siya. Hindi kasali ang prefix. So if you can see, the correct answer, mauuna pa rin si 4-ethyl and then susunod si 3,3-dimethyl heptane. So I hope klaro-klaro ni siya na rule. Question or questions? Any clarification sa rule natin? Kung si ethyl yung dalawa, so magiging diethyl yan siya. Pero pag arrange alphabetically, dun pa rin tayo magre-refer sa kay ethyl. Hindi sa hindi kasali yung prefixes sa pag-alphabetical order. Okay? Walay pangutana. Sure na gyud. Mag-assume jud kog nakasabot ana hindi mangutana ba? Mag-assume na lang yun tani. Nya pagkahumay pa mag-quiz ko wala dito nakasabot. Bantay bitaw mo. Kasi unta. Bantay bitaw. Okay. Ito nasabi ko na ito kanina. Again, nasabi ko na ito kanina na the prefixes are not included in the alphabetical order. Okay? Pero may exception. Again, may exception. The only prefix that we are going to consider in the alphabetical order is the ISO. Again, the ISO lang. Pag nakita niyo si ISO, pag nakita niyo si ISO class, whether it's an isopropyl or isobutyl, kasama siya sa alphabetical order. Yung di, tri, tetra, and even the sec and the tert are not considered in the alphabetical order. Okay? So let us give an example para makita nyo. We have here this complicated na compound. I don't know if this is complicated sa inyo ha. But taghan naman good siya carbon. Pero first, let's count. Let's locate or identify the parent chain. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So pag straight chain lang, this is a 9 carbon na compound. Pwede din nating itry lumiko. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 8 ka dito. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 8 ka pa rin here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Definitely 8 lang yan siya lahat. Ang ating parent chain yung 9. So 9 is non-name. Non-name siya, mag-end siya sa ain kasi single bonds lang lahat sila. So this is correct here. The parent chain is no name. That's the straight chain. Now what is not included in the straight chain? Ito. We also have this one. And then another one here. Okay? So let us name our substituents. Let us name our branches. Hindi nakasali sa parent chain. So we have here a methyl and another methyl here. Ayan. And then how do you call this? Ilan ni siya kabok? 1, 2, 3, 4. Upat. So this one is a butyl, but this is not an ordinary butyl because the connection is on the second carbon. If this is the first carbon here, again, the connection on the parent chain is the second carbon. Ito yung tinatawag natin na sec-butyl. Again, kung butyl lang manggod siya class, dapat diretso lang na siya. Upat ka carbon. So, if this is the parent chain, na ang connection din sa terminal, sa pinaka-last. Pero this time, the connection is on the second carbon. So, bisag naka-straight chain pa na siya, yung ani siya pagkasulat, naka-straight, wait lang, naka-straight chain, but then again, the connection is on the second carbon, sec-butyl ang tawag, ana. So sec is a prefix to denote na the connection is on the second carbon. So the connection is also, this one also is a secondary carbon. Okay? So sec-butyl siya. So ito na yung mga names nila, and then the next step will be identifying the position. So paano identify ang position? Mag-number tayo. Pero doon tayo mag-start sa may pinakamalapit. Definitely, ito yung pinakamalapit here. Kasi at carbon number 2, meron ka ng branch. Kung dito ka mag-start, 1, 2, 3, sa carbon number 3 ka pa magkakaroon ng branch. So ito yung tamang numbering. Okay? So ano na ngayon yung mga prefixes natin? We have 2-methyl. And then we have 5-sec-butyl. This is how you write it. Just separate them with a dash. We only use the comma if dalawa or tatlo or more na the same substituent. Okay, and then identify natin anong carbon sila sa parent chain nakakonect. And then we have another one, 7-methyl. So si 2-methyl and 7-methyl, since pareha sila, pwede natin silang idugtong. Magiging ano na sila, 2 and then comma 7 dash, and then for 2, this same branch we use the prefix di. So we call this now dimethyl. So mahulog na dalawa lang yan silang idudugtong natin here. Now let us arrange them alphabetically. Ano sabi ko kanina? The di, tri, tetra is not included in the consideration sa alphabetical order, as well as the sec and the third. So dito tayo magbe-base sa names ng totoong names ng substituents without the prefixes. So syempre, this is letter B, kaya siya nauna dyan sa naming. 5-sec-butyl. Before mo idugtong si 2,7-dimethyl nonane. Okay? So I hope nakuha yan. Questions? Okay. Grabe. Grabeng diretso-diretso nga klase.
Ma'am,
Yes, Sarah.
wait lang ma'am na. Ngano gani 5-sec ang una sa ano ma'am sa naming.
Kasi si prefixes, alphabetical order tayo, pero anong sabi sa rule? Ang mga prefixes na di, tri, tetra, ito gaya nito, and including ang sec and the third, hindi sila kasali sa pag-consider sa alphabetical order. So, kung titingnan natin yung mga prefixes dito, sec and di, hindi sila kasali. So, dito tayo magbe-base sa naming. Sa name mismo ni substituent. So, you have butyl and then the methyl. So, di ba sa alphabet, syempre mauna si B. Kaya 5-sec-butyl. Ang nauna compared kay methyl. So, do not forget ha, ano lang yung sa prefix na kasama sa alphabetical order, si iso. Kung meron ka makita dyan na isopropyl, isobutyl, or so on, kasali siya sa pag-consider sa alphabetical naming. The rest na prefixes, hindi. So dito ka magko-consider sa totoong name ni prefix. Did I answer your question, Sarah? Or nalibog pa?
Yes, ma'am. Okay
Okay.
na, ma'am.
Sige.
Thank you po.
Anything else?
Ano pa gani other ng isopropyl tsaka isobutane?
Ano say other nga?
Other pa na ma'am include para with exception sa ano pang iso uban na iso ma'am?
Basta as long as may makita kang ISO dyan, isali mo si ISO sa alphabetical order. Ano na yan siya? Isopropyl, isobutyl, isopentyl. Pwede yan siya kung how many carbons ISO ang tawag natin. Pag naka-umbrella, especially kapag naka-umbrella yan siya. ISO means kasi equal. So pag hatiin mo yung wait lang ha, i-draw ko siya. For example, isopropyl. So ganito kasi ang structure ni ISO. Ayan. So pag hatiin mo kasi siya, the same yung left side and yung right side. Yan yung tinatawag na ISO. So whether 3 carbons, 4 carbons, yan siya. Tawag dyan? Magagamit tayo ng ISO na prefix. Tapos isasali natin siya sa alphabetical order. So for example, palitan natin ito ha. Example lang, palitan natin ito ng C and then C here. Idugtong natin for example at carbon number 5 instead of sec-butyl. So magiging na siya. Let me erase this.
So ma'am, ito ma'am, second butyl pa rin to siya ma'am kasi nasa second carbon.
Oo. Iba ang nawong sa sa isobutyl. I-draw na ko ang isobutyl ha. Ang isobutyl is like this. Pwede sa taas, pwede sa baba. Pero as you can see, naasa tunga si isa ka carbon. So kung hation nato ang atoang compound, ang atoang substance, the same ang right side and ang left side. Compared sa sec-butyl, bisag wala na siya naka-murag square class or kung naka-straight chain man na siya. This is second. Wait lang. This is C here. This one is the sec-butyl. Okay? So I hope nakita ninyo ang difference nila. Actually, nakaka sa akong slide para dali ninyo madraw. Ngitaan ako ha. Dili mo.
Pag-abot lagi kay ma'am Eroy ma'am, malibog.
Anong malibog man mo?
Abot ma'am.
Alam mo,
Ma'am, kay dali lang.
Sa mo kay lang, di na ako makita ang asa man to? To diri ka jud. Blessil ha. Kay pangitaon na to si asa man na? Dili na ko siya makita.
Napamugod tong open and close parenthesis niya ma'am na
Mag-open and close parenthesis ka dito sa imuhang condensed formula. Pero I seldom use the condensed formula kay libog man gud ng condensed formula. Tanawa, di ako makita asa na to. Wait lang. Wala. Na ako din kanang difference. Ay, parang di ay. Darash di ay. This one. This is what you call, makitan ba? Wait lang. Meet na to sila. Sigkaputo lang uban. This is what you call isopropyl. Propyl kay tatlo lang sila ka carbon. And take note kani dinhi mao ni ang connection sa parent chain. So naa siya sa tunga pag iso. Again, naa siya sa tunga ha. Bisag unsaon pa na siya pagsulat, this is the parent chain here. As long as the connection is on the second carbon, bisag i-straight pa na nimo silang tatlo or imuha siyang i-bend, as long as the connection again is naa sa tunga, isopropyl ang tawag ana. I hope nagkasinabot ta. Pero kung upat na siya ka carbon, pag straight chain lang siya, if this is the parent chain, tapos nakakonect ang upat ka carbon, tapos straight chain lang siya, mao ni siya ang ginatawag nga tinuod na butyl. So pag ibutang nimo siya sa pangalan, diretso ka na butyl. Kung anong number sa parent chain siya nakakabit, example on the second carbon. So diretso ka na niyan to butyl. Pero pag hindi yan siya straight chain, hindi straight chain yung naka-connect sa parent chain kagaya nito, if this is the parent chain here, ang connection is on carbon number 2. If this is carbon number 1 here, ito yung carbon number 2, or secondary carbon siya kasi nakakonect siya sa dalawang carbon, kaya pwede din siyang tawagin sec. So ito yung sec butyl. Again, dito na lang kayo para hindi kayo malito. Sec means second. So second carbon nakakonect doon sa parent chain, sec butyl. Ito naman ang tinatawag na third butyl. So if this is the parent chain here, nakakonect siya sa isang carbon sa parent chain, tapos yung carbon is nasa gitna, tertiary carbon siya. Pag sinabing tertiary carbon, it's a carbon that is connected to 3 more carbons. So third, ano siya ang ginatawag o third butyl. Ay magkalibog ha? Magkalibog na. Third butyl na siya. Okay, tertiary carbon, 3 ka carbon. Pero upat gihapon na sila all in all ha. So 1, 2, 3, 4. Mo na nga butyl gihapon ang tawag sa iya ha. Ang arrangement lang nila ang nagkalahi. Now ito naman yung tinatawag na isobutyl. So this is here now the connection on the parent chain. Pero ano ang pinagkaiba niya? Butyl ha, 4 pa rin kasi na carbon. 1, 2, 3 and then you have another 1 here. Anong pinagkaiba nila ni sec-butyl? Si sec-butyl, yung isang carbon mo nandito. Kasi this is the connection here. It's on the second carbon. Pero si isobutyl, the connection is nasa dulo, pero yung fourth carbon mo, nakakonect siya sa gitna. So paghatiin mo ito, parehas yung tag-iisang carbon on both sides. Kasi sabi ko 'di ba kanina, iso means equal. So equal sila. Nasa gitna siya. Pero 4 pa rin yan na carbon, so isobutyl yan. I hope nasabtan na siya kung kanus ana sila gamiton. Panganlan ba nimo siya isopropyl? Actually si butyl ang marami nito. Marami siyang types kasi pwede siyang different arrangement. So muna siya be familiar with the arrangement ni sec, third, and isobutyl. Okay?
Thank you, ma'am.
I hope na klaro na siya before ta mag-end. Napabakoy wala na discuss ani. So again ha, iso lang ang kailangan i-consider. Okay, so ito, this is another rule before ta mag-end. Asa na to? Nawala. So this one is the last rule. Ano nakasabi dito? If chains of equal length are competing for selection as the parent chain, iba ang PPP. Pero mo man ang PPP. Yeah, mo ni. Iba to kung gigamit kagayon na pag naming nato, nibalhin ko lahi nga PPP. Dahil dito siya ang PPP. Wala ko na siya nahatag sa inyo. Again, if chains of equal length are competing for selection as the parent chain, then ganito tayo mag-choose. So letter A, the chain which has the greatest number of side chains. Letter B, the chain whose substituents have the lowest numbers. And letter C, the chain having the greatest number of carbon atoms in the smaller side chain. And letter D, the chain having the least branched side chains. Kadaghan niya giingon. Ito siyang i-explain. Ani ha? At tagal na tong example. Kani, pag mag-count ta, do number 1 siya here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. This is carbon number 7 here. Pag magliko daw, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Parehas. Okay? So, mo ni siyang ginaingon nga mag-straight man ka or muliko ka, parehas ang longest chain, parehas sila na 7. So, paano daw ka mag-decide karon? Kasi nakabutang din ha, 2,3,5 trimethyl 4-propyl heptane and dili siya 2,3 dimethyl 4-sec butyl heptane. Kailangan daw nimo pilion ang parent chain that will have the least side chain or the least branched side chain. Kung mag-straight man gud ta class, ang ato ang kuha siyang square ha. Ang ato ang branch is this one here, and then we have here. Okay? Tama na ba akong counting? 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay. Ito. Mauna siya kabuok ang ato ang side chains. Pero kung mugliko man gud daw ta, complicated na iyahang side chain class. O ni ang parent chain, no? Ano yung hindi nasali? This one, and then this one, and ito. Pag naging sec na ito siya, magiging complicated na siya. Okay? Again, magiging complicated na siya. So, mahirapan kasi tayo sa naming ng substituent pag naging complicated siya daw. Though actually, alam naman natin na sec-butyl, pwede siyang sec-butyl. Pero pag nag-name ka daw ng organic compound, kailangan yung least complicated and then least branched side chains. Hindi masyadong branch yung side chain niya. Ito kasi tinatawag itong branched na side chain. Side chain na gani siya, branched pag yun siya kay nilahi ba ya ang iyahang structure, dili ba ya siya kanang linear na chain. So, ang piliyon daw nato tong least complicated. So, dirita sa straight chain. Para pag name nato, kanilang atong i-name. So, dili siya complicated. Kaya wala nagliko-liko ang imuhang mga branches. So, nakay 2, 3, and 5. 2, 3, and 5. And then, tatlo sila ka-methyl. So, we call that trimethyl. And then, ano yung hindi mo nasama? Ito. At carbon number 4, meron kang tatlo dyan na carbon. We call that propyl. Hindi mo siya tatawaging isopropyl kay straight chain ba yan na siya. So, ang connection is on the terminal carbon, straight chain siya. Tawagin lang natin siya automatically na propyl. So, idugtong natin siya dito sa name for propyl heptane. Okay? So, again, pag naka-encounter kayo na the same ang number of chains na possible mag-longest chain, piliin nyo yung least complicated. Para i-summarize ang ABCD, pilian ninyo itong mas dali ninyo man-name ang iyahang branch, ang iyahang side chain. Kaya kung maglahi-lahi pa, mag-sec-butyl, tert-butyl, complicated na siya. Okay? That's just a review of the naming sa organic compounds. Pero, alkene pa lang to ha. Wala pa to siya other functional groups. Any questions before ta mag-end? Or clarification? Mag-exercise ta anak. Mag-post ko video for the next part of the Gen Chem and then you have to watch it. That will be your assignment and then we'll have another quiz next meeting. Diba nag-ingon naman ko no, every meeting is a quiz day.